The United Nations going from the prehistoric to the ridiculous with their new video on climate change. Check it out. It features a talking dinosaur addressing the General Assembly and warning those big bad humans about global warming.
I know a thing or two about extinction. Going extinct is a bad thing. At least we had an asteroid. What's your excuse? You're headed for a climate disaster, and yet every year governments spend hundreds of billions of public funds on fossil fuel subsidies.
Is the Jack Black sounding like Jack Black to you? Anyway, isn't the problem that I was in L.A. when I first moved to L.A. 20 years before you were born. I remember the skies were brown. It was horrible.
Yes.
If you were on one of the first freeways. And I was 98. I was in Beijing with Clinton. And again, it was chocolate skies. So you can't deny that humans are affecting, in a negative way, the climate.
Okay. Well,
I mean, isn't the real issue that the United States can't do it alone, that we can't sacrifice or pay for what China's not going to do, what India's not going to do?
Well, I would say LA now does not have the same skies that you experience. Beijing, however, does, which proves that a free market system in the United States, capitalist system, can get rid of pollution, which is very different than trying to control the climate through just pumping money into a global system. This is not about climate change in the environment at all. It's about government control. So thousands of everyday products are made with petroleum. If you control the energy, you control everything else. So you control how people can heat their homes. You control what they get to buy. And that's exactly what this globalist governance wants at the UN. Apparently, they have enough money to make stupid videos that have nothing to do with actual real solutions to solving. Yeah, that's our money. And so it's not about clean energy, because they call it clean energy, like these electric cars and buses that the president touted today. They're actually really terrible for the environment. Those batteries, you have to mine them in China. You have to use a ton of water to get them out of the earth, and then you can't really dispose of them. The same thing goes for solar panels and wind turbines. So this idea that this is clean energy just isn't true. It's just a mechanism to control money, and as Greg just pointed out, to get more of it from Americans to give it to Europeans and the rest of the world.
I think that's a very grim assessment of solar power and wind power.
It's true.
And kids love dinosaurs, so there's nothing wrong with using that gimmick, is there, Jesse? Wouldn't your twins pay attention to that?
Geraldo, this is not for kids, is it? I mean, is this for kids or is this for adults? This looks like it's for adults at the UN, so think about that for a second.
It's for Democrats, which are children.
It's for children, a.k.a. Democrats. You're right. Katie's right. This is not about the science. The science changes anyway, depending on whoever you give the grant money to. This is about give me your money right away or you're going to die. That's a stick-up job, Geraldo. That's what this is about, constraining American capitalism, and for liberals to feel relevant and virtuous to throw other people's money at a problem that you can't even keep track of. Since 1986, emissions went up in this country, and then in 2007, shale revolution, Geraldo, natural gas, and our emissions are down back to the 86 levels, while India and China are exploding.
So you are hopeful.
Their emissions. So why are we paying other countries to pollute? We have amazing clean air, clean water. We preserve the natural resources of this country. It's not a very densely populated country, Geraldo. You drive around this country, you don't see people for miles. It's a nice, clean country.
Plenty of room for those illegal aliens.
Which we're going to pay $500,000 for separating them from their moms. I'll take $500,000 if you break me up with my mom.
She's going to text you.
I'll throw her some cash.
That's right. You like John Kerry, the climate ambassador?
Well, okay,
is he making a difference?
Here's the thing I thought was so funny. And when we started talking about John Kerry today, I thought a few weeks ago, he was over in China. He says that his whole lifestyle is about traveling the world to stop the fossil fuels and the use of them. He was in China a few weeks ago, and while he was there, because got to go and have these conversations, he had virtual meetings with leaders, and he could have just done that from the United States. Yes, he was having virtual meetings after he had traveled all the way over there. So I think maybe there is some room for improvement on his carbon
But having
situation.
a high-profile guy in charge of it, or person in charge of it.
Well, I don't know. Him, the dinosaur, I don't know. By the way, the dinosaur to me was a clever idea. When you're talking about extinction, he did sound sort of like he had a Southern accent.
Well,
I mean, like, was he discovered in Alabama? And where's his mask?
My grandkids love them. But to Jesse's point, this was not supposed to be for the children. Crunchy critters, you know what that is? They're now advocating the harvesting of insects.
Yeah,
and they said if we eat insects, that will improve the environment.
Yeah, the people that are pushing that don't do it, except for Brianna Keller. on CNN. Do you remember when she stuffed her face?
She did. She ate a crunchy
talking dinosaur, I thought looked great. I mean, the Botox has really helped Carrie's fossilized face. If this were, stop it, he deserves it.
Is a war hero.
If this were a Republican ad, CNN would do a fact check, right? There's no proof that dinosaurs could speak the Queen's English. This is absolutely absurd. But we are often told how harmful things are, like words, costumes, right? The Halloween costumes, we're being told, you know, no cap guns, no cinema blood. And then there's certain words that are triggers, they're considered traumatic. And yet the left can have a dinosaur tell you that life is ending. And it is actually appealing to children to use the dinosaur. So scaring people for some reason is only the turf of really comfortable, rich white liberals in their electric cars.
Well, you know who's not going to be convinced is China.